Welcome back, trainers. So in this video, we're going to be going over the new legendary counters, which are going to be Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. Now we're going to be looking at my results for the legendary dinner hour yesterday. We did have windy weather, and I did get some good luck towards the end. So we'll take a look at that. Now this is my haul. A lot of these Rayquazas are going to be older. So I was able to catch myself 7 shiny Rayquazas in total out of the whole time it was here. Now, I probably would say I did about maybe 50 of these raids, around that number. So I had some pretty good odds, as you can see here. This is going to be the weather boosted, a little bit spoiler alert, I suppose, for the last one I did find on the legendary dinner hour. Pretty happy about that. And it was crazy because the weather did change as I was going into the catch screen, and I was worried that it would have been a normal non-weather boosted, but unfortunately the IVs were not great for the attack, but it's still good trade material. We're also going to be going over the new shinies that are going to be introduced later today as well, Sentret and Gligar. We did get a new shiny yesterday, which was going to be Electrike. Pretty unexpected and nice. To get that one in a task, it is going to be battle a trainer. That's what it's going to be called, but you're actually going to have to battle them 2 times to receive that reward there. And then you have the possibility of getting yourself a shiny Electrike. So there we have that shiny weather boosted Rayquaza, looking pretty good. Unfortunately, not above 2600 for the IVs, and it's not going to be the best, but hey, it is what it is. And I'm happy with all the shinies I did catch. So I hope all of you were able to get yours and at least a good IV one for the return of Rayquaza. Alright, so first legendary beast, the most useful one out of the trio here is going to be Raikou. These images are made by Couple of Gaming. I will have a link in the description to their Twitter. Let's go ahead and take a look at all of the information here. So 100% IV non-weather boosted is going to be 1972. Weather boosted under rainy weather is going to be 2466. For the quick moves, it does have Thunder Shock and Volt Switch. For the charge moves, it does have Shadow Ball, Thunder, Thunderbolt, and Wild Charge. You need to look out for that Shadow Ball if you're using ground type Pokemon, because it's going to be hitting pretty hard for neutral damage. Best counter is going to be Groudon with Mudshot and Earthquake, then Garchomp with Mudshot and Earthquake, Mamoswine with Mud Slap and Bulldoze, Rhyperior with Mud Slap and Earthquake, Rhydon with Mud Slap and Earthquake, and then you have Donphin with Mud Slap and Earthquake. So pretty much just ground counters here. Like I said, you just need to look out for that Shadow Ball, and you do have the possibility of finding this shiny. Now, out of all of those counters, which one do I personally think is going to be number 1? Well, Groudon is doing pretty much the most damage, but Garchomp is going to have the most survivability. So it will be resisted that electric type because it's going to be ground and both dragon. Both of those typings will be resisting it, therefore lasting a little bit longer. So just take note of that. The Garchomp is going to be able to put on quite a bit of damage. Other than that, yeah, you're pretty much set, just ground types, and you should be good to go. Good luck out there on trying to find your shiny Raikou if you haven't done so yet. Next up, we have Entei. I'd say probably the second most useful to Raikou because it is decent fire type attacker here. 100% IV is going to be 1984, and then in sunny weather, 100% is going to be 2480. For the fast moves, it does have Fire Fang and Fire Spin. For the charge moves, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Iron Head, and Overheat. Alright, so taking a look at the counters here, you're going to have Rampardos number 1 with Smackdown and Rock Slide. Kingler coming in hot with its new move. We have Bubble and then Crab Hammer. Remember, yes, it is going to be doing quite a bit of damage, but it's not going to be able to survive quite that long. Also, something to take note of for your Rampardos. If the Entei does have Iron Head, that's going to be eliminating you fairly quick because you are going to be weak to steel types using that Rampardos. Otherwise, all the water types will be resisting everything that Entei is throwing at you. So Kingler, very good, but it's not going to be able to survive that long. And then you have Kyogre with Waterfall and Hydro Pump, Swampert with Mudshot and Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is going to be that Community Day move, so do not try to TM your current ones that do not have it because you will not get it. And then you have Crawdaunt with Waterfall and Crabhammer coming in with that new Crabhammer move. Very nice. And then you have Feraligatr with Waterfall and Hydro Cannon, another Community Day move that you cannot currently TM. So if I had to pick one of these counters to be the very best, which one do I think? Well, yes, Rampardos is fantastic. If you have multiple of them, if you just have one even, just go ahead and throw it in the beginning to do as much damage as possible. But the safest option out of all of these is going to probably be Kyogre, because it will be resisting all of the moves, as well as putting on massive damage and lasting quite a significant amount of time. Yes, Kingler is another fantastic option. If you have a full team of those, then hey, go ahead and go in there with them. Or you can just put it up in front to do as much damage before it does faint out, and then go ahead and go in there with your Kyogres or Swamperts or whatever else you have to take it out. And of course, you do have other water type counters like Gyarados or Blastoise. I wouldn't really recommend Blastoise too much, but anything that's doing massive damage as a water type attacker, Gyarados is another notable Pokemon to be using for sure, because it will be resisting all of those moves easy. And also take note that the weaknesses for Entei are going to be ground, rock, and water, so you can also use Garchomp and the other counters that we were looking at for the Raikou. And last but not least, we have Suicune. So the 100% IV is going to be 1704. In rainy weather, 100% IV is going to be 2130. The quick moves are going to be Extra Sensory and Snarl. The charge moves are going to be Bubble Beam, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Water Pulse. So take note of that. If you're going to be using your grass type Pokemon, which are going to be a fantastic option still to go up against it, you are going to have to look out for that Ice Beam, seeing that you're going to be weak to that beam. The best counters are going to be Raikou itself with Thunder Shock and Wild Charge, Electivire with Thunder Shock and Wild Charge, Magnezone with Spark and Wild Charge, Roserade with Razor Leaf and Grass Knot, Luxray with Spark and Wild Charge, and then you have Zapdos with that raid move that we did receive a while back with Thunder Shock and Thunderbolt. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't have a Thunder Shock Zapdos because I wasn't around or I just simply didn't play that day. Well, Charge Beam is going to be okay. You could still go in there and do a decent amount of damage with Charge Beam and Thunderbolt with your Zapdos. But you need to look out for that Ice Beam because that will be doing super effective damage to you, being a part flying type. So the majority of the counters are going to be electric type for sure. But if you did have sunny weather, you can definitely go in there with grass types, and you don't even need sunny weather to go in there with those grass type Pokemon. Roserade's still going to be fantastic. Possibly your Frenzy Plant Community Day Pokemon like Venusaur or Meganium, or any other grass type Pokemon doing massive damage, as well as Sceptile too. Don't forget that Bullet Seed and Frenzy Plant, the grass types are still on point, resisting the water moves, but still taking super effective damage from that Ice Beam, as well as your Venusaur taking super effective damage from the Extra Sensory, as well as Roserade being a part poison type, so take note of that. Next up, we have some very interesting news revolving around evolutions via trading. This information was found out of a data miner's account. I will be leaving a link in the description so you can go ahead and follow him yourself. So yes, evolutions via trading. Very good stuff. This should have been introduced a couple generations back, but that's fine. It's finally introduced now. Well, soon. So let's see what they have to say, or the text that they did find. Would you like to evolve X using candies anyways? Evolving X without trading will require candies. Next, if this Pokemon is received through a trade, it can evolve without using candies. Very interesting. Certain Pokemon received through trades don't require any candies to evolve. So for example, we have Coroblast here, which let's just say it took 50 candies to evolve. If you did do a trade with somebody and you received one, then to evolve it into Excalibur is not going to require you any candies whatsoever. Possibly just the Unova Stone, and simple as that. Maybe not even taking the stone, but I'm going to guess that it's going to revolve around that specific stone. So very interesting. There's going to be a few other Pokemon, and I can't wait for this to be introduced, as well as these new Gen 5 Pokemon. And then we have some new quests. World Tourism Day quests. Make a new friend. Send X amount of gifts to friends. Trade a Pokemon caught X amount of kilometers apart. Very interesting. And then some new filters coming our way. Distance and special trade. Special trade is going to be for the special move Pokemon. So this is pretty interesting stuff here, Excalibur. I can't wait for that. This is going to be pretty exciting. New Pokemon Gen 5, and actual trading is going to be involved, taking no candies to evolve those Pokemon, simply a stone. Very exciting stuff here. It doesn't matter if they're a little bit late on this, at least they're introducing it at some point in time. So there you have it for the new information for the Unova Stone. Alright, so starting it off with Gligar here, this is actually going to be a very awesome shiny to receive pretty difficult to find. I don't really come across them too often in the wild, and we currently do not have any of them in the tasks. Hopefully that will change upon release, but I highly doubt it. So it's going to be a ground and flying type. Max CP 1857, attack 143, defense 184, and stamina 163. If we take a look at the weaknesses, it's going to be extremely weak to ice, being a ground and flying type. So look out for that. And also weak to water, resisting ground, bug, electric, fighting, and poison. Now, is this something you actually want to use in the Great League? Well, I've seen people use it, and I've tested it out myself from time to time. Fury Cutter is going to be charging your charge moves extremely quick, and then you do have that wing attack stab coverage, I suppose. And then for the charge moves, you have Aerial Ace, Night Slash, and Dig, all of which are fantastic charge moves in combination with Fury Cutter, because you will be able to spam them at an extreme rate, because Fury Cutter does gain you quite a bit of energy. So you will be getting stabbed from Aerial Ace as well as Dig. Night Slash is a bit of coverage there, so it's not looking all bad for it. But let's go ahead and take a look at its evolution here, because this is the one we want to be focusing on. Gliscor! Now this shiny variant does look fantastic. Ground and flying type yet again. Max CP 2692 at 100% IV, of course. Attack, it's not looking so great, but it's not horrible either at 185. Defense up on the higher end at 222. Stamina 181. It's going to have the same weaknesses, so we don't really need to focus on that. Now let's go ahead and look at the moves here. For the quick moves, we do have Fury Cutter and Wing Attack, same as its previous evolution. For the charge moves, we do have Earthquake, Aerial Ace, and Night Slash. Now, I do have a lot more experience using this one myself, because when PvP first did drop, I invested in a ton of Pokemon, just blew 5 million Stardust within a couple of hours. Yes, indeed. Some of you may remember that. A little bit more, as a matter of fact. And up to this point for PvP, how much do I think I've invested? I'd say somewhere around 11 million Stardust, maybe more. And that's not an exaggeration whatsoever. So this one, is it good? Well, it's situational. Fury Cutter, like we just said, went over for the previous evolution, will be charging your charge moves at an extreme rate. So you will be able to get to that Earthquake at a decent time before you are fainted out or hit or have to burn a bunch of shields. Aerial Ace is, you're getting stabbed, and you will be able to combat those possible fighting or flying type Pokemon, and then as well as other bugs. And then Night Slash, you have a bit of coverage. It's not going to take too long to get there with Fury Cutter. So this one is actually not so bad, but at the same time, it doesn't really come up at the top for specific metas, but you could use it as a wild card. And seeing that we do have some downtime next month for the Silph Arena, you can possibly use it, test it out, and see how well it does perform for yourself. All right, next up for our shiny we're going to be getting today, Sentret. This is nothing spectacular whatsoever as far as the stats are concerned, so if you do find that shiny, that's going to be a nice little shiny addition, I suppose. But Furt here is going to actually be decent in the Great League. I mean, it can find usability as a fun card to use, I guess. It's going to be a pure normal type. It's going to be weak to fighting, resisting ghost. Max CP 1758, attack 148, defense 125, and stamina 198. Let's go ahead and take a look at the moves to see how useful it is. For the quick moves, we do have Quick Attack and Sucker Punch. And then for the charge moves, you have Hyper Beam, Brick Break, and Dig. So if you did decide to purchase a secondary move and use this for PvP for fun, Brick Break and Dig are what you're going to want to go with. Hyper Beam is out of the question. I suppose you can use it for, one of those kamikaze moves. If they have no more shields, just completely, wipe them out, maybe, depending on their typing. And as far as which quick move do you want on it, I would say maybe Quick Attack, possibly. If you use Sucker Punch, you won't be too vulnerable going up against other ghost types, seeing that you'll be doing super effective damage there. Other than that, simple Brick Break and Dig, and that's pretty much it. Brick Break and Dig do not take too much energy to finally get off, so that's a pretty good plus, I suppose. But there you have the two new shinies that are going to be introduced later today. And with that said, trainers, I'd like to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends if you found it useful, and I'll be keeping you up to date on everything Pokemon Go. Thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you all next time. Take care.